Ross and Amal Shah here from VSiN's at South Point Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas. And this Saturday night, Amal, we got a big one, the trilogy fight. It's about to go down. Gennady Golovkin against Canelo Alvarez. The first two go the way of Canelo Alvarez. But Amal, very contested, those first two bouts. Now in the trilogy fight, what would Triple G need to do to get the outcome to his side instead of losing those two very close decisions? Well, one, a draw, two, a majority split decision that goes the way of Canelo.
Yeah, if you are Gennady Golovkin in this one, you've got to come in and you've got to figure out a way to knock out Canelo Alvarez. To me, I think that's the biggest question. Can he do it? I don't believe he can at this stage of his career. But based on the way the decision went 5 years ago, I think it's going to be difficult for him to get a decision in his favor. And Dave, he was 35 when that first fight took place. Now we're 5 years later. He is 40 years old. Nobody gets generally faster with their hands as you increase in age, but this is a guy that has been a tremendous fighter. Really, he's had only one blemish in his career, and that was against Alvarez in the second fight in 2018 when he lost that fight. You mentioned the draw in the previous fight in 2017. I just think he's such a complete fighter. I always said it hurts me that he did not come to the United States sooner because people would have seen the greatness of what Triple G brought to the ring. Yeah,
the Kazakhstani legend is 42-1-1 at the age of 40 now. Again, this is going to be for Canelo's super middleweight crown, but really it's for legacy, right? Yeah. Yes, there is a crown at stake here that Canelo does own. But it feels like Alvarez at 32, even though he did get the split decision victory the second time around 4 years ago and the draw 5 years ago, I think he feels like it's unfinished business as well. And now he's coming off a loss his last time out. Of course, he did go up in weight, now back to where he wants to be. And the last time we had seen him lose was Floyd Mayweather way back in 2013. So it's been a long time since Canelo at 57-2-2 in his record that he's tasted defeat. What do you make of him coming off a loss now as a huge prohibitive favorite, minus 550 out here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by this number, simply put, because of how good this guy's been. You referenced that Floyd Mayweather fight 9 years ago. That was Floyd in his prime. In my opinion, the greatest defensive fighter I have ever seen. And you're talking about a young Saul at that time, 23 years old. Now he's in his prime, as good of a fighter as there is in the world. You can make the case pound for pound, depending on whomever you prefer. But I think he's as good as anybody you would make the argument for. You mentioned the Dmitry Bivol fight. He steps up in weight. That was a bit of a challenge. Give him credit for taking on the fight. When you're as good as him and you have the type of paydays he gets, you could have just sat there and rested on your laurels, but he chose not to do that. And now we've got a fight that we all want to see. I just want to know the type of fight that we can see out of these guys because of the age difference now, because Canelo in his prime against Golovkin 4 years later, to me, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
And that's why we're seeing the favorites the way they are here with Canelo at minus 550. Okay, so when you go with a fight script, and I think you touched on it very quickly, you look at the first two fights, we're here in Las Vegas, it's going to be a pro-Canelo Alvarez crowd. Now, the judges are independent. They can hear the crowd noise too. So I think the popular belief is that Triple G cannot win a decision victory here in 12 rounds. He'd have to get it done inside of those 12 rounds. 10.5 is the over-under right now for rounds. It's juiced heavily to the over, minus 190. If you think he gets done inside of 10.5 rounds either way, plus 150. Does Gennady have to go out on his shield and say, all right, if I can't get, in my estimation, a fair shake by the judges, then it's kill or be killed. And Canelo, I'm going to come earlier, and I'm 40. I can't outbox you for 12 rounds, but I can sure give you my best maybe for 7 or 8. Is that the mentality Triple G has to do in order to possibly win this fight?
I absolutely think so, and I think you bring up a great point, Dave. When you look at the previous results, I thought in the first fight in September of 2017, I thought he was the better fighter. I thought he won that fight. I know we wound up with a draw in that match, but for me, I thought he got a little bit jobbed there. I thought that was one that he could hang his hat on. In the second fight, I give a slight edge to Canelo, who did win the decision. To me, I just look at Triple G and say, hey, listen, he's got to go for it. And if he were to come back and redeem himself and somehow knock out Canelo, I think when you look back on it, you say, wow, this guy really has been impressive. The one blemish he was able to erase in his career. Not many guys always necessarily get the opportunity when it's a fight 4 years later. In this particular instance, for me, if I'm Triple G, I'm looking to go for a knockout. And if you're looking at it from a betting perspective, that's where you take a look at Triple G and the potential odds of what you're seeing on him to win by knockout or
plus
decision.
850 if you think Triple G can get it done by KO, TKO, or DQ. And what's ironic to me in the betting market here, Maul, is you look at what the odds are for him to win a decision, plus 750. It tells you everything you need to know right there. So you can take the plus 380 Gennady to win either way, whether it's decision or KO. But the betting market is telling you, really, it's probably a long shot here either way. I would play it exactly the way you did, the correlation play.
Yeah.
If Triple G is in order to get his revenge here, I think it is by KO or TKO. So to me, the plus 850 is the way you would do that. If you don't want to lay the big number with Canelo and lay the 550, if you like Canelo via decision, which is the way the first two fights have gone, you can get that small plus money plus $1.05. So would you do one of those correlated plays? Either Gennady by KO plus 850, Canelo by decision plus $1.05.
Yeah, I would actually look at Canelo, and instead of taking him, I would go under 10.5 rounds at about plus 190, Dave, because to me, Canelo, I think he's got a great opportunity to be able to knock him out in this fight. If he were able to do that, you're going to get a better price than Canelo by KO, TKO, or DQ. So taking the under 10.5 rounds. Now, the one thing, though, you are susceptible to a situation where if you were to knock him out in the latter part of round 11 or potentially round 12, then you would lose on that one. But something to consider because the numbers are so skewed. And I just don't want to lay the $5 with Canelo simply because the price is so high.
I agree. Plus $1.40, you think Canelo can get it done KO, TKO, or DQ at any point in this fight. I think the under is in play as well at 10.5 rounds. I kind of like that because I got to think Gennady Golovkin is thinking the way we are. I'm just not going to get a fair shake out here in the desert on a Saturday night. And I don't know at 40 years of age if I can outbox the younger man, my junior at 32. Amal, can't wait for the fight. It should be great. Everybody enjoy it out there. We'll be watching as well. Thanks for watching. And check us out on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN's sports betting podcasts.